guys, it's Mandy. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about Final Fantasy VII, and I'm so excited because there's some news out there that we haven't discussed yet, and I cannot wait to get into it. There was an interview recently with Kitase and Nomura. Some really interesting stuff out there I want to talk about. I also want to just talk about my feelings about the announcements on the 25th anniversary stream, because I reacted to it live on stream and I have now finally digested a little bit. At the moment, it was like, whoa, there's so much to process. Finally, I feel like I've processed it. I just want to talk about it all. There's a lot of exciting stuff to talk about. Let's dive in. So at the 25th anniversary, Part 2 was announced, and a Crisis Core remaster/remake was announced. Unclear to me how we're categorizing it, but that's a debate that I won't get into. It's amazing to me that they dropped this Crisis Core remake. It's coming out this coming winter, and according to the website, it's coming out this year, this winter. That's so soon. I can't wait to play it. Any of you that have been around on the channel for a while know that I have never played Crisis Core. I do have a video up of me watching the cutscenes of Crisis Core, but I've never had a PSP. I never had a way to play it, so I'm so thrilled to have a way to finally play this game. It's not the same thing. When you're watching a cutscene movie of a game, it's not the same thing as experiencing it all for yourself. And I just can't wait to play it and come up with my own opinions of everything that happens in the game and how it relates to Final Fantasy VII, both original and now remake, because they're different things. They are very different things, and I'm just excited to see how Crisis Core ties into everything. I am also very curious to see what the ending of Crisis Core is going to be in this remake, because I know, and we're gonna get into this, I know they're telling us it's the same. It's a one-for-one remake, but of course they're gonna tell us that. They don't want to give anything away. Come on. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure what we're gonna see, but we'll find out together, and I'm excited. I kind of expect there to be changes, but we'll see. Also, just before we dive into these interviews, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth was announced for next winter, and that's amazing to me as well. We've got Crisis Core, we've got Rebirth. In between, there's Final Fantasy XVI next summer. It's just an incredible time to be a Final Fantasy fan, and I'm so here for it. My hype is off the charts, and it's not gonna go down for a long time. We've got so much to look forward to, and it's just the most incredible feeling. All right, let's dive into the interviews now. All right, so in the trailer for Rebirth, we see Cloud and Sephiroth walking together. That's the scene from Cloud's flashback, right? And yes, it has been confirmed that this is a flashback. I think we all knew it. I mean, I assumed when I saw the scene that it was that flashback. Now, the interesting thing about this is the comment that Nomura makes on this. And it is due to some rules regarding what info we can show. The UI has a portion of it that's turned off. This made some people think that it's a new scene, but I just wanted to clear this up. So there's something that they're hiding from us that they don't want to confirm or deny at this time. I'm thinking it's probably whether or not Sephiroth is a playable character in this section. There's a lot of hidden UI in this trailer, and I do think it could potentially be that they don't want to confirm who the playable characters are at the time. And that could mean a few things. I think in this scene in particular, it's probably Sephiroth that they're hiding, or a lack of Sephiroth. Well, I assume Sephiroth will be playable, but we don't know for sure. They don't want us to know for sure. And I think that's what we're talking about here. Okay, so Kitase says, I hope you can also recall the original as well. Once you left Midgar, you had a feeling of, well, where do I go now? With such a vast world that opens up for you, anyone would be excited to start on their own journey. In the trailer, we also see Zack carrying Cloud on his shoulders as they make their way back to Midgar. Nomura says, yes, we hope that Final Fantasy VII Rebirth will give you that feeling of opening up to that journey. Zack is a key character in this game, so please look forward to it. This is a very interesting part of the conversation because they're talking about leaving Midgar, the journey opening up, but also Zack, who's obviously not here in the original. So where does Zack come into play? Zack is a key character in this game. In Rebirth, Zack is not supposed to be alive. Zack is alive. We see Zack in Remake. We see Zack in Intergrade. Zack's there, and things have to be different. They're trying to tell us that things aren't going to be different. But if Zack is a key character in this game, I don't see how things can really be the same. I don't see how we're telling the same story. We're telling a new story. I'm here for it. I'm excited to see what the story is that we're telling, what these new mysteries are. I just don't think it's the same as the original. Nomura also says we hope that Rebirth will give you that feeling of opening up to the journey. And I think that I have always been of the opinion that the game is not going to feature an open world map. I think it's going to be kind of like Remake was, where you have chapters, you're kind of stuck in a specific location. Those locations can be huge and feel massive, make the world feel alive. I think Remake did a good job of that. And I think Rebirth will be similar. I don't personally care if it's open world or not. I know a lot of people do. It's not something that really matters to me, though. So I'm excited to see what they do with that. I think they can really make a satisfying and alive feeling world without it needing to be an open world. I'm sure there are different possibilities regarding that scene, and really makes you theorize, well, since you mentioned there will be 3 parts, where exactly will Final Fantasy VII Rebirth cover? We have not announced until recently how many parts the story will be, as we actually were considering whether to do it in 2 or 3 parts. Now, this is so interesting to me because they do know what story they're telling. They know what they want to cover. They were trying to do it in 2 parts. They realized they needed to do it in 3, and that's really interesting to me because people were theorizing it could be 7 parts, it could be 5 parts. Now we know it's 3. And that means they have an end goal. They know what they're doing. They know what they want to do with this game, the direction they're going. Knowing your destination makes it so much easier to tell a compelling story without there being any gaps or holes. And this is really, really good news to me. This was finding this out, that it's going to be a trilogy and that they know it's going to be a trilogy, was one of the biggest things to come from the 25th anniversary stream, and I am so excited about that. It's just, there's definitely a story there in their minds, and I'm so happy they know what they're doing. I'm so happy that they know what they want out of this. Nomura says, at the moment we do not plan to do more than a trilogy. However, since 7 Remake only took place in Midgar, people might be worried that the remaining 2 installments will have too much content, and we might have to omit something. Rest assured, we will not condense things, as each installment has a lot to offer. Now, there's been a lot of discussion about this as well, and I do think we are going to get a full story. I think 3 parts is perfect for what it seems like they're going to do. I do think the pace is going to be picked up a little bit after Midgar, but I also think that that's going to work really well. I think there were parts in Midgar that were added that I didn't really need to see. I don't think they added a lot to the experience. So hopefully we don't see as much of that kind of thing in Rebirth and in the final installment. Hopefully it's just fantastic pacing, packed with fun and meaningful story and gameplay experiences the entire way through. That's what I'm hoping for, and that's what I think we're going to see. So Nomura has also talked a bit about the Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion remake / remaster, and was asked, will it have a different ending? Nomura says, there will be no changes to the events of the story. The original is consistent with both Final Fantasy VII and Final Fantasy VII Remake, so there are no worries there. And how can it be consistent with both? So in Remake, we see Zack show up, and he's looking for Aerith in Midgar, and he's alive. He's going to be alive in Rebirth. This says he's an important part of Rebirth, so we know he's going to be there. There are 2 stories here. There's the ending of Crisis Core that leads into Final Fantasy VII, the original. Zack is dead. That's one story. There's a different timeline happening in Rebirth where Zack is alive. Now, I think in Rebirth we may be transitioning between two different timelines. We may have one where he's dead, one where he's alive. I don't know if they're going to be able to interact between the two of them or if we're going to see flashes between the two of them, but we're going to see something like that, and I'm curious to see what it's going to be like. However, I think this answer is a little bit misleading and that there's definitely more to it. Okay, so minor interruption there in recording this video. My candle here was going crazy and set off the fire alarm in my apartment. I guess the Final Fantasy VII news is just that hot. Anyway, candles out. Let's keep going. With the announcement of 7 Rebirth, I think the part that's most intriguing to fans is Zack. Will the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth story change greatly than the one from the original game? And of course, this is what we've all been wondering for so long. So let's see what he's got to say. Nomura says, the story's axis will not change. Regarding this new mystery that is different than the original game, I'm sure that those who played the original will enjoy a fresh experience while playing Rebirth. On that note, there will be some changes regarding the progression of the game. For example, when playing the game, you might think, wait, did that location get cut out? However, that's because the composition of the trilogy might be why certain places are not visited. There will be changes as to the order of when you head to certain locations, but in general, we do not plan to delete any locations. Wow, there's so much going on in this answer. There's so much to unpack here. So, saying the crux or the axis of the story will be the same. So I do think that that's probably true. That's probably if you take a step back and look at Final Fantasy VII's story and the risk of meteor and all of that, I do think that that's still going to be there, and that's what they're trying to stop. I think what's going to be different is Cloud's intrapersonal story. I think that has to be entirely different here. And that's one of the more compelling storylines to me in the original game. So I am interested to see where that goes. I think that that's going to be a huge difference in Rebirth and in the final part. I also think there's going to be some changes in what happens to the rest of the characters and all of the characters' fates. So I think maybe the story at large, from a huge step back, if you're looking from outer space at Final Fantasy VII, it's the same. But if you're looking at the character journeys and all of the intricacies of what's happening in the story, I think it's going to be pretty different. So things like, when playing the game, did that get cut out? Yeah, I understand. We'll go to different places at different times. Different plot points will happen at different times. So, for example, Aerith, who dies at the end of Disc 1, I do think we'll get that. I'm wondering if this means we don't get that in in Rebirth, in this installment. I wonder if that's saved for more like the end of the game. And if that's the case, then that means a lot of things are going to be reworked in the story. It might not be that he's referring to. It could be many things. It is good to know that they're not removing any of the locations and that the plot, they're telling us the story's axis will not change. So what that means, I'm not exactly sure. What do they consider to be the story's axis? Who knows? But we'll see what they give us. I'm excited for it regardless. Even if it doesn't meet my expectations or my hopes, I'm here for the journey and I'm excited to see what story they've chosen to tell. We're excited to see how the game has been changed and want to play it as soon as possible. Do you have any messages to fans regarding the development of the 7 Remake project? For those who have played Crisis Core on the PSP and would like to relive the story, and for those who have never played it before, we've made a lot of improvements so that everyone can enjoy Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion. Our team is doing our best to deliver this game, so please wait until the game can be released. If you can play the game till the end, it will add your enjoyment of not only the original 7, but also 7 Remake and Rebirth as well. Please look forward to it. So yeah, Zack is going to be hugely important in the Remake trilogy, specifically in Rebirth, they're telling us. And they are saying play to the end of Crisis Core Reunion. They're also saying the ending's not going to be different. But if you've already played it, you'll want to play to the end. I don't know. I don't know. I'm kind of finding it hard to believe that there's not going to be anything that's different. There's going to be something added to it. I feel like that's got to be how it is. We'll see. We'll see how it ends up. I just they're dropping all these clues that there's something more there. But then they're also trying to tell us there's nothing to see here except actually watch the end. So we'll see. Nomura says there are many who have not played 7 Remake or played Crisis Core event in 7 The First Soldier and wondered, who exactly is Zack? By playing Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion, players will understand why exactly those who know him are so fond of him and why he is so special to the story. Zack will also be in Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis. When you hear the word Final Fantasy VII, you probably will think either Cloud or Sephiroth, but Zack is equally important. And I hope that many people will come to realize that as well. Nomura is out here like, pay attention to Zack. Zack deserves love. Nomura wants us to have our eyes on Zack. So I think that tells us a lot about where the story is headed. Well, I'm definitely going to stay tuned to see what's coming. I can't wait for the media frenzy that we're certainly in store for as these release dates start to become closer. I can't wait to play Crisis Core for myself. I'm still thinking I should probably play the original just in case the remake is different. We'll see though. I'm excited to play it. You can find me on Twitch. I'll be playing Crisis Core the moment it's out and available for me to play. I cannot wait. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Let me know what you think of all of the news. Would love to hear from you in the comments below. Give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and don't forget to sub to the channel. All my socials are linked in the description box below, as well as my Twitch channel where I stream every Tuesday and Thursday. Take care, everyone, and I will see you again so soon for more Final Fantasy discussion. Bye!